so you probably know by now, we have a municipal election coming up in this city, November 2nd, and that means, of course, all the municipalities on the island will be having local elections. You know, the other day we were talking about the fact and talking with someone about the fact that fewer and fewer people seem to want to get involved in municipal politics. We talked about how many people actually have left positions provincially in municipal politics. So it's heartening to see and hear that not one, but two women right now, so far, there may be more, have decided they would like to run, and both of them want to run to become the mayor of Westmount. Mary Gallery is a Westmount City councillor. Lynne Casgrain is a managing director. She's a Montreal lawyer. And they're both wanting to run and both on the line. Ladies, thank you both for being here. I'm going to start, if I can, Lynne, with you. For people who might recognize the name, Lynne Casgrain. That might be because she is the daughter of Claire Kirkland Casgrain, the first woman elected to Quebec's National Assembly many, many years ago. Lynne, you're a lawyer. You're in private practice. You've also served as an ombudsman at the MUHC. Why do you want to run for mayor of Westmount?
I want to run for mayor of Westmount because I want to serve. I think the city of Westmount is at crossroads right now with a Southeast plan that is proposed by the present council, and I think that this proposed plan needs to be looked at further. It proposes a number of new structures without regards to or without any information concerning the cost and range of municipal services that would be needed for the added population and the cost of new infrastructure such as water and electricity. So part of my focus would be on the new Southeast planning and zoning, and it would also, of course, be on the rest of Westmount that needs to be looked at. The roads are in a terrible situation right now. And we want to look at the infrastructure of our parks. That's why I want to run. Okay. I want to serve, and I want the people of Westmount to have a voice and to be heard.
All right. Let me get to Mary Gallery, as I mentioned. Mary, you've been part of the Westmount administration since 2017, currently serving as Commissioner of Sports, Recreation, and Parks. You're also a member of the city's planning committee. Let me deal with this, at a crossroads in terms of development. I'm assuming we're talking about that project, and this has been in the news now for a while. So basically from Atwater heading a little bit west. Why is this in such focus right now, do you think?
Hi, Aaron. Good afternoon. Great to be with you. First of all, can I just tell you a little bit about me
Please.
And why I want to run for the mayor of Westmount? Well, anyone who knows me knows I love my community. I was born and raised here. I raised my children here. I joined the public service 8 years ago, as you mentioned, and it's been a true honor to serve my community. And I feel someone with experience is obviously a much better steward to lead a future council, work with the administration, and execute the difficult work ahead of us. So yes, I'm ready to hit the ground running, and especially when it comes to the Southeast. So I can talk about that now. Southeast has been an issue in our city for over 60 years. And many different councils over time have tried to address this issue. Most people have seen it on St. Catherine Street, especially. It's dilapidated, empty, and vacant lots. And we are trying to improve the area with what we call a PPU. It's a Projet Particulier Urbain. We're providing a framework, a vision for the area. It does include Dorchester Avenue as well. And it's a balanced framework. And we need to revitalize this area badly. The time is now to act, and we just can't wait. And the real work will actually begin in the next mandate. So whoever's elected will have to help move this forward to solve a crisis over there.
So it's funny because, the topic here is centered over, and I know that, Lynne, you mentioned other issues, you mentioned roads, parks, et cetera, but this issue over this development from Atwater going west for a couple of blocks, as you said, Mary, this has been around for a long, long time. What's the pushback on this? Why are so people adamant about one position or the other? I'll start with you, Lynne.
Part of the problem is because it does not seem to reflect the architecture, the heritage of Westmount. The feeling is that it's not on a human scale. We want to reconnect the Southeast District to its neighbors, but not with high rise of 20 and 30 floors. And that is what is worrying everybody. The work that has been done by council has been excellent. They really did work very hard, and there is a framework that is very interesting. It's just that we need to respect the heritage of Westmount. Move forward, yes. And the choice is not to act or not to act. The choice is respect the heritage on a human scale and move forward. But there is no choice that we have to focus on the Southeast. I agree with Mary on this one.
I do have a question. Maybe one of you can answer. I'm familiar with that corner. When you talk about maintaining heritage, assuming we're talking just about on St. Catherine Street from Atwater heading west for those couple of blocks, you're across the street from Alexis Neon Plaza. You're across the street from the Alexis Neon Apartments. These are high rises. Why is it an issue to put another building up there that reflects pretty much what's already there?
So if I may, I'd like to add that the world has changed dramatically since Karen Marks and Peter Trent set in place the current zoning. So the realities of construction, the density requirements around a metro, basically nothing has happened in, like I said, 60 years. So we've come up with a thoughtful proposal that slopes from Dorchester up with setbacks to the heights that are being proposed that essentially match Alexis Neon. So we're not taking away any heritage buildings, housing, green spaces. We are trying to solve a problem. And this proposal is what we hope can help invite some interesting ideas, interesting development that we'll have to integrate into our community, obviously, and go through the very rigorous PAC committee that makes sure that it meets all our standards.
So I guess my question would be, is this what constituents are coming to you with? I understand you both have opposing views here, politically perhaps, but what do you hear from your constituents? Are they concerned about this, interested in it, or are there other issues in Westmount that they are coming to you with? I'd ask you, Mary, because you're part of the administration.
Well, we're sort of used to resistance. There's obviously resistance to change when we do anything. So we understand that. We feel like this has been an 18-month process, and we have been listening, and we want to, like I said, solve this. So we feel this is a balance because we're getting on one end status quo and on the other end more height, more density. So
not status quo. I have to interrupt. The choice is not to act or not to act. The choice is to go with this plan, with this height, with this proposal, or take this proposal and bring it more in conformity with on a human scale and with respect to the heritage of Westmount. I also get that information. That's why you have Victoria Hall full of people coming to talk about the new proposal. That's why they couldn't even hold city council in the city council chamber, because so many people are interested in this and people are worried. And there's also the question of there has not been any data accumulated to determine what the new services are going to be, the new infrastructure. Don't forget, Westmount gives electricity as well as water. So that is a worry.
Is this a battle of old school versus new school? Because I'm getting that idea, this idea of maintaining something on a human scale. Again, I'm thinking of the area in general. Westmount's pretty big, and you were talking about here about a couple of blocks. So why is this the main issue as far as you're concerned? I'm trying to understand that.
Well, Aaron, I would say it's one of the main issues. I could go on about a few others, but with regard to the heights and the density, we are trying to solve a problem and invite a solution.
Okay.
So it's, but we also have to address infrastructure and our parks and our technology and our buildings that have been sorely underinvested in past decades. So we've done the work. We need to continue to do the work. We've got to focus on roads. We hear about them all the time. And we got to find new sources of revenue to help fund some of these big projects.
Okay. Lynne, I'll give you a final word here if you'd like. Go ahead.
Okay. New sources of revenues are important, and certainly building high buildings is also an essential thing to do. But we need to avoid Griffintown, where you have high rises all over the place, but you don't have the schools, you don't have the shopping, you don't have the human scale, you just have big buildings. That's the issue.
Okay. Is this, by the way, and I have to wrap up here, I'm going to run out of time, is this kind of a take it this way or we start all over again? Is there room here, Mary, for, some kind of negotiation or not?
Well, we froze the area for the landowners 18 months ago. So we've also talked a lot to our community with the timeline. So to delay at this point, to me, would be quite irresponsible and unfair. And we've done a lot of public consulting, and we've done a lot of listening from all stakeholders, from the local residents to the neighboring Atwater Library, but to the greater Westmount community who really do care, and they really want to see this area developed.
They care. They want this developed.
Yeah.
But that's and it's not a question of not acting. Of course we're going to act. And yes, this past council has worked very hard on this, but they're at the end of their mandate, and they should let the new council determine this.
Okay. It's going to be an interesting race, to say the least. First of all, as I said off the top, I'm heartened that both of you have decided, you know what, and Mary, you've already been, in politics, in that administration for a while, but given what's going on with so few people apparently wanting to get involved, I think it's great that you're both involved, and we'll go from there. Hopefully we'll be able to speak again. Thank you both.
Thank you. Super excited and energized.
All right. There you go. That's what's happening in Westmount. Lynne Casgrain will be running. Mary Gallery will be running to be mayor. There may be others, by the way. This is just what we know for now. And yes, don't forget, municipal election coming up November 2nd.